and take the station offline as those floodwaters come in, and thereby avoiding very significant damage. And allows us also to, after the storm, be able to restore power to the neighborhoods much quicker. This is a lesson that we learned over 10 years ago as we were supporting our industry partners up in the Northeast during Superstorm Sandy. I'm here to give an update today on the restoration status. As of 6 a.m. this morning, FPL has restored power to 1.6 million customers. That's approximately 75% of the customers affected by Hurricane Ian across the state. And we're working very diligently to make sure that we restore power to everyone. There are challenges, as you know. We have a significant amount of flooding in the north part of the state. And then we also have some very significant flooding here in the Southwest Florida area, especially in the Arcadia area and some of the most hardest hit areas of our state. As I said earlier, we do understand very much how difficult it is to be without power, and we're working very hard round the clock. We have a workforce of over 21,000 men and women from across the United States, 30 states represented, working to restore power here to our communities. I want to make sure that we focus on safety as we go forward. At FPL, safety is our #1 priority and our #1 value. It's in everything that we do. We want to make sure that our customers have safety in mind. Please do not venture into flooded areas. If you see down power lines, make sure that you're avoiding down power lines. Sometimes a cable TV looks like a cable TV, but it might actually be a power line. So we want to make sure that you avoid any down power lines. It's a very dangerous situation, and there's a lot of off-normal conditions after a hurricane. So also, if you're using generators, please make sure that you're not using those near an open window, or that you're not using them inside your garage. Make sure that they're far away from the home, so that and you plug in any appliances directly into it, such that you can be safe when you're using a generator. So with that said, as I said, we're going to be working in the communities until every single customer is restored, and I'll go ahead and take any questions that you guys have.
For those that are... a lot of people right now are struggling, obviously, without power. What would you like to tell to those customers that are still without power right now, especially across Southwest Florida, that got hit the hardest?
Well, above all, our message is please make sure that you have safety top of mind, as I said. There are a lot of conditions in the communities where you have debris, that you have some flooded areas. Please make sure that you're not venturing into a flooded area. If you're driving around and you encounter a flooded area, make sure that you stay away from it. Like I mentioned, the safety about generators, and then also understand that power may be out to your neighborhood, and you may not see a crew working right at your house. The equipment that actually serves your neighborhood, that's actually preventing power from being restored efficiently, may be in a place where the crews are not visible to you. But rest assured, our team is working round the clock, and you'll see those dedicated men and women working to restore power safely and as quickly as possible.
How long do you foresee it being until power is fully restored to all of your customers?
So yesterday evening, the company actually put out our estimated times of restoration. Across the system, we're estimating that we'll have essentially restored, which is about 95% of the customers at the end of the day on Sunday, October 9th. We do see that, however, that there are areas that are very heavily impacted, and some areas that actually won't be able to take service. So FPL will be restoring service to those areas up to where we can, and then obviously when those facilities are able to take power, then we'll actually go ahead and complete that and give them the service.
Can you describe the damage that you've seen? What are the main concerns, and kind of what's the main damage that you've been seeing across your system?
So across the system, first of all, let me kind of take it up a little bit. Obviously, we talked about how generation and transmission works, and it brings the power to the substations. Our entire generation fleet, we did not have any significant damage in any one of our power plants, and also we did not have any damage whatsoever to our transmission system. We did not lose a single transmission structure. We were able to quickly assess damage after the storm. We had helicopter patrols, and we did have on the transmission system, we had a lot of debris, a lot of vegetation that prevented service from remaining during the storm, but we were able to quickly restore and put those lines back in service. As far as the neighborhood lines, the distribution system, we've seen obviously a lot of areas that have some very significant flooding. and we do need to reduce or allow for that water to recede before we could actually do a lot of the restoration. And then just a lot of debris, a lot of structural issues with some of the facilities that our customers are waiting to restore.
When it comes to a substation like this, how many customers would be impacted, or how many customers rely on a substation like this one right here?
So this particular substation serves about 26,000 customers here in this area in Fort Myers.
You mentioned that this substation serves people in this area, which I'm assuming includes Fort Myers Beach. How important is it in an area hit like that to give them power as soon as possible?
It's absolutely critical that we make sure that we restore power. We have a very time-proven and tested restoration process. We begin with ensuring that our power plants are able to provide energy to the grid, that our transmission system is up and running, that our substations are restored, and then we restore all of the main power lines coming out of the substations, which is the process that we're actually in the middle of right now, is making sure that those feeder backbones are in service. That is prioritized by making sure that we have all of our critical infrastructure customers in place. I'm very happy to say that we have service to all of our hospitals that we serve. And we are continuing to prioritize restoration to those critical infrastructure facilities across the communities. And then obviously we'll work into the neighborhoods and we'll restore the most customers possible in the quickest amount of time.
Events like this that happened in the past, Irma, other hurricanes that have hit Florida, did they help prepare you for kind of getting this back on faster? Did you learn lessons then that help you now?
Yeah, absolutely. We learn lessons from every single emergency that we go through. I mentioned how we learn from other companies when they go through emergencies and storms. Obviously, Florida being in the middle of the Atlantic and the Gulf, we have had our share of hurricanes, and FPL has a long history of continuing to refine our restoration process. We have all of our lessons learned from Andrew all the way through Charlie, Iona in 2017, and we build all of that into our restoration plans and our training for our organization.
You talked about having to rebuild portions of the grid. Have you been able to make all the assessments on the damage and put a plan together for rebuilding?
Our team has been making the assessments and the priorities of the circuits, right? We have performed the majority of those assessments on the main power lines, and we're working our way into the neighborhoods now and making sure that all of those tickets get put into the restoration process at our staging sites.
Any other questions?
So
We have one more.
Yeah. So Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday tweeted out saying some information about LCEC and, more manpower out there. Are you guys willing to help with LCEC, FPL, and just combine manpowers together to make sure everyone has power here in Southwest Florida?
Yeah, absolutely. We're working very closely with all of our partners here in Florida, all of the utilities, the municipals, the co-ops. We're all in this together. We want to make sure that we restore power for all of Florida. We have been in contact with Lee County Electric Co-op, and we are working on ensuring that we can provide them the assistance that we can here as soon as we're able to. We're looking at materials, resources, things like that. So we'll be coordinating with them in the coming days.
Ed, maybe you want to touch on, there's a lot of activity going on behind us. When did the work start? How many workers are here? And what has been their pace here at the site?
So this restoration here began as soon as the impacts of Hurricane Ian were subsiding. Our crews actually get out and start restoring service, start looking at the critical go, no-go decisions are done immediately after the storm. Obviously, this area did suffer significant flood damage. We did have a storm surge that actually impacted this substation. We had about 4 feet of water throughout the entire substation. The substation itself suffered some structural damage at the relay control house, which is what we call it. But our team immediately got out here and started incident command, and we've actually gone ahead and cleaned up the equipment. We've replaced and repaired some of the equipment, and we've been able to actually get the substation energized yesterday, and are already in the process of picking up customer service here in this neighborhood.
So this is actually energized now. So
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's about, and just to kind of answer your question, there's about 50 folks that are working out of this location. The majority of that has been inside the substation with the equipment, and then as of yesterday, we started working the main lines out of the substation. We got a helicopter going.
You may want to repeat that. Yeah. I think it's better now.
So yes, this substation is energized. We've actually got all of the substations here in the Fort Myers and Naples area fully energized. We're already picking up customer load, customer service. This was energized yesterday in the early hours, and we've actually started getting some of those customers restored already overnight.
How are your people doing? Everyone doing okay?
Yeah, it's a round the clock effort. There's a lot of pride in what we do as utility workers. It's something that's shared not only by FPL but all of those that come and assist us. Like I said, we have folks from 30 states, over 21,000 engaged in the effort. Folks are tired, but we make sure that everyone gets their rest. We have multiple shifts. We have right here we have full shift, night shift and day shift. And we make sure that everyone gets their rest and can take a few hours off.
Any other questions?
Well, I want to thank everybody very much, and we're dedicated, and we're going to be working round the clock until every customer is restored.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.